Hi guys, welcome back to part two of looking back at the DC. If you haven't seen part one, you can check out my channel. I did that yesterday. Then tomorrow I'll be doing part three, then part four, and I said I'll do part five in December. So let's get into it. Welcome back. Today we're doing looking at the DCU part two, the post Zack Snyder era. For those who don't know, this is basically the post Zack Snyder era is basically all the movies that came after Zack Snyder left DC because after Justice League, the studio fired him because they didn't want to because of the reception of Batman vs Superman and Justice League, and they fired him. So they used the death of his daughter to cover up them firing him. And these are basically all the films from Aquaman all the way to the Suicide Squad. So I'm gonna go through all of them. So yeah, so now before I do that, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. Now basically after Justice League, the DCU was pretty much a laughing stock. It was getting mocked for not being as successful as the MCU, but there's so much missed opportunity and potential. And these are some of the videos here. So example, we had Sad Affleck, so I'm gonna go for it now.
Since reviews for the film have come out, and I don't know if you've had a chance to have a look at them or like your response to those, or
No, what are they saying?
well, it's been getting a mixed response. I just wondered whether how that makes you guys feel, and whether
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull stars from the sky just too hard.
I agree.
I'm sorry I had to mute it because it had music and I didn't want to get a copyright strike on it. And then there was more videos. Let's get into it.
Vision. What is your ideal future for this character? Is it Man of Steel 2? Is it a TV series? What is it, Henry?
Right now, I can't really talk about anything. What I do want is hope, optimism, and joy. Those three things are essential for the character.
There is no repairing the DCEU. How stupid are the people of Warner Brothers? No! No!
So basically, after all this, Warner Brothers were scratching their heads, wondering what were they going to do after the film of Justice League. Do they reboot it? Do they continue it? So they decided to continue it. So the Flash was supposed to come in 2018, but that got pushed back. And then so we only had one DC movie in 2018, and we had Aquaman. This was the sixth film in the DC Extended Universe. This was directed by James Wan, and it starred Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, William Dafoe, Patrick Wilson, Dolph Lundgren, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Nicole Kidman. And basically, the film is is basically Aquaman, who sets out to lead the underwater kingdom of Atlantis and stop his half brother Orn from uniting the Seven Kingdoms to destroy the surface world. And yeah, so this movie, so this movie was development began in 2004, but did not gain traction until Man of Steel was released 2013. In April 2014, Beale and Kurt Johnston were hired to write competing scripts. One signed on as director in April 2015, and in July 2016, the film moved forward with Beale's screenplay. The main cast was confirmed through 2016 and early 2017. Principal photography began in Australia in May 2017, taking place at Village Road Show Studios on the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, with additional production teams in Canada, into Italy, and Morocco. Filming concluded in the following October. Several vendors provided visual effects ranging from high detail hair simulations to the creation of CGI animals. And yeah, it had 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it were $1.148 billion worldwide, making it the highest grossing DC film, the highest grossing film based on a DC Comics character, the 5th highest grossing for 2018, and the 20th highest grossing film of all time. And yeah, so it made $1 billion where they desperately needed it, and it received mixed reviews. Some people said the story was a bit of a mess, and some of the CGI isn't good, but I think for what it is, I think it's okay. But yeah, even though it's average, I'm not a huge fan of the jokes. But yeah, Aquaman was successful, so we will be getting Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom this year, December. And also there was an animated series called Aquaman King of Atlantis. This was basically a trilogy on HBO Max of animated episodes. There were only 3 episodes. I haven't seen this, but yeah, this was on HBO Max, and it was going to be a trench movie, but they cancelled it, and we found out that was going to be a Black Manta movie, which I'm fine with. I don't think you could do a whole movie with the trench, and also I think that storyline with Black Manta is pretty much going to be used in Aquaman Lost Kingdom. So yeah, that's Aquaman. Yeah, 2019 we had Shazam, and so Shazam was the 7th film in the DC extended universe, and it was directed by David F. Sandberg. This stars Zachary Levi, Usher Angel, Mark Strong, Jack Dylan Grazer, and Jim Hansu. And the film follows teenager Billy Batson as he's chosen by the Asian Shazam to be his champion by saying the word Shazam, allowing him to transform into an adult superhero with various superpowers. Billy and his foster brother Freddie Freeman must discover Billy's new powers in order to stop the evil Dr. Thassavan and the 7 deadly sins. So development of a live-action Shazam film began at New Line Cinemas in the early 2000s, but was delayed for several years. The film went to pre-production in 2009 with Peter Siegel as director, John August as writer, and Dwayne Johnson being considered as the villain Shazam. But the production fell through. Johnson acts as an executive producer on Shazam. William Goldsman, Alec Sokolov, Joel Cohen, Bill Birch, and Jeff Johns, among others, were attached to the project as writers at various stages. The film was officially announced in 2014, with Johnson attached to star as either Shazam or Black Adam. In January 2017, he was cast to lead a solo Black Adam development project. Sandberg signed on to direct Shazam in February 2017, and Levi was cast that October, with Angel joining the following month. Principal photography began in Toronto in January 29, 2018, with most of the film shot at Pinewood Toronto Studios and wrap on May 11th. And so it got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it made $367 million on $367 million budget, which it was a success. And you'll see positive reviews on critics who praise Sandberg's direction, performances of Levi, Angel, and Grazer, as well as his generally light tone sense of fun. It was followed by the spin-off film Black Adam in 2022, which I'll get to that in part 4, and also a sequel, Shazam Through the Gods, which I will talk about that in part 4. But yeah, so I love Shazam, really good movie. I think it's probably the best solo movie we had. And yeah, so that's Shazam. So then 2020, we had Birds of Prey. Now, this was the 8th film in the DC Extended Universe. And this was directed by Kathy Ann. And this starred Margot Robbie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Johnny Smollett, Rosie Perez, Chris Messina, L.A.J. Basco, and Ian McGregor. And So Robbie, who also serves as producer, pitched the idea for Birds of Prey to Warner Bros. In 2015. The film was announced in May 2016, with Hodson being hired to write the script that November, followed by Yan signing on to direct in 2018. The majority of the cast and crew were confirmed by December 2018. Principal photography lasted from January to April 2019 in downtown Los Angeles, part of Los Angeles Arts District, and sound stages at Warner Bros. Studios in Burbank, California. Additional filming took place in September 2019. It got 79% Rotten Tomatoes, and it made $205 million, which it was a box office bomb because it didn't make nowhere near its break-even point between 250 million, 300 million. The budget was 82 to 100 million, but I mean, I don't know, like, I think the problem with Birds of Prey is that it just didn't know what it wanted to be. Like, it was trying to be Harley Quinn movie and a Birds of Prey movie, and the marketing was terrible. They didn't know how to market that movie, and the trailers won't tell you. The trailers weren't telling you what the movie was about. We had 2 trailers, and it wasn't telling you what it was about. And the marketing was terrible. Like, all the marketing, like, you had the trailers, like I already mentioned, and then we had, and it was just the marketing that they used, like, and they called it Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. That was their mistake. They shouldn't have called it that. They should have just called it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, because no one knows who Birds of Prey are. But people know Harley Quinn is, and I think the reason why I didn't do it was that I feel like people just didn't like Suicide Squad 2016, and I feel like this came too late. The fact this came 4 years after Suicide Squad, and I feel like people just weren't a huge fan of this movie, so this movie coming out, it really, and I think also factors that it was rated R, which I think it was PG-13 with them more, because there was plenty of Harley Quinn fans, PG-13, who couldn't watch this movie because it was R-rated. And I feel like this movie could be PG-13. Just cut out some of the violence and most of the swearing. I think it probably could work as PG-13. But yeah, I honestly would have preferred a Gotham City Sirens movie with just Margot Robbie, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy. I would have wanted that. David A. was going to do that, but they went with Birds of Prey. But I'm fine with the movie. Now, there was going to be a Black Canary movie. I don't know if that's going to happen now. She was going to be in Batgirl before they cancelled it, but yeah, so that's Birds of Prey. It received positive reviews. And yeah, so also in 2020 we had Wonder Woman 1984. Now this was the 9th film in the DC Extended Universe. It's a standalone sequel to Wonder Woman. This was the first DCEU sequel, and this was directed by Patty Jenkins. It stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Christian Wiig, Connie Nielsen, Pedro Pascal, and Robin Wright. And so discussions of a sequel began shortly after the release of the first film in June 2017, and the decision to proceed was confirmed the following month. Principal photography began June 13, 2018, with filming taking place at Warner Brothers Studios, Leavesden in England, as well as the District of Columbia and Northern Virginia in the US, London and Duxford in England, Tenerife and Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands, and Almeria. Production wrapped in December 2020 after 6 months shoot, with additional filming in July 2019. And yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 was originally scheduled for a wide theatrical release June 5th, 2020, but was delayed multiple times due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The film premiered on December 15, 2020 via the DC Fandom virtual platform and was released in the United States by Warner Brothers Pictures on December 25th, 2020. Both theatrical and via the HBO Max streaming service. And it had 58% Rotten Tomatoes, and it made 169 million. The reason why is because it was during the pandemic. I think maybe the pandemic probably could have done more. It received mixed reviews from critics who praised the direction, performances, visuals, action scene, musical score, and escapist qualities. But yeah, so yeah, there were plans for Wonder Woman 3, but that got cancelled due to James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over the project. And we were going to get an Amazon's movie, but we will be getting a spin-off prequel series focusing on the Amazons called Paradise Lost, which is not connected to the DCEU Amazons. It's going to be something. Wonder Woman 84 is not my favorite. I kind of like the first one. And I was really looking forward to this movie, but yeah, it is what it is. So it's okay. I've not seen it since it came out. I might rewatch it again, but I just love Wonder Woman more, and it just sucked. I feel like this movie could have been good had they not have. I thought like they just gave Patty Jenkins too much freedom. But yeah, then 2021 we had Zack Snyder's Justice League, which this was the 10th film in the DC Extended Universe, and this was Zack Snyder's original version for the film prior to his departure from the production and subsequent studio. So yeah, so Zack Snyder's Justice League. This movie was directed by Zack Snyder, and this starred Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, Ezra Miller, Amy Adams, Jeremy Irons, Jesse Eisenberg, Diane Lane, J.K. Simmons, Amber Heard, William Dafoe, Connie Nielsen, Kieran Hines, and Ray Porter. And the whole history of Warner Bros. With this movie was released by Warner Bros. Pictures in 2017. Justice League had a difficult production. Its script underwent major changes before and during production between 2016 and 2017. In May 2017, Snyder stepped down during post-production following the death of his daughter, Autumn Snyder, and Joss Whedon was hired to finish the film, completing it as an uncredited director. Whedon oversaw reshoots and other changes that incorporated a brighter tone and more humor, or reducing the runtime significantly in accordance with the mandate from Warner Bros. The theatrical version was polarized critics and underperformed the box office. This is why Warner Bros. Opted to prioritize developing future films around individual characters with less regard for consistency and continuity within the wider shared universe. Many people express interest in Snyder's version of the film, which they often refer to as a Snyder Cut, although most industry insiders reported its release unlikely. Warner Bros. Moved ahead with it in February 2020. In May, Snyder announced it would be released as Zack Snyder's Justice League as a HBO Max original film. $70 million was spent to complete the visual effects, score, and editing, with new material being shot in October 2020. The release was originally planned as both a 6-episode miniseries and a long feature-length film, with the former concept being cancelled in January 2021, in favor of releasing it as the latter. The film is dedicated to the memory of Autumn Snyder, and it got 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it didn't go in cinema, so there's no box office. But Zack Snyder's Justice League was released on HBO Max in the United States on March 18, 2021. It became the 4th most streamed film on the platform that year. The film was widely considered superior to 2017 theatrical release, and critics praised Snyder's direction, visual style, action sequence performances, improvised characters, musical score, and balance of emotional weight and humor, although the runtime received some criticism. And I think it is clear that this one was much more superior to Joss Whedon's version. And I watched it when it came out, and I even got the DVD, I got the 4K, I even got the Blu-ray at one point, and I'm planning on getting the box set, the 4K box set that has Man of Steel BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League. But yeah, this movie is good. This is my favorite DCEU movie. And I'm happy we got this movie. Like, if we didn't get this, I would have been fine if we didn't get the movie, but I'm happy we got to see Zack Snyder's vision, and I'm happy we got this movie. You know, the thing with this movie is that all the toxic Snyder fans, because this movie came out, the fact that they have this movie now, they just got worse and stuff. Like, there was no toxic. There was, like, when before the movie came out, there was some toxic fans, but it wasn't that much. It's after the movie came out that they started getting toxic and stuff. So yeah, overall, I think I'm just happy we got this movie. And yeah, so 2021 we had the Suicide Squad. Now this was the 10th movie, but this was the 11th movie in the DCEU. So yeah, this was a standalone sequel to Suicide Squad, and this was directed by James Gunn, and so this starred so this starred Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Sylvester Stallone, Viola Davis, Jai Courtney, David Asmasian, Peter Capaldi, and Daniela Melchior, and yeah, um, so in the film, several convicts join a task force known as Suicide Squad in exchange for life sentences. They are sent to the South American island national on Corto Maltese to destroy all traces of the giant alien starfish Dora the Conqueror before it falls into the local government's control. And yeah, so David A was set to return as director for Suicide Squad sequel by March 2016, but in December he chose to work on other projects. Warner Brothers considered replacements before hiring Gavin O'Connor. In September 2017, he left due to creative differences, and Gunn was hired in October 2018 to write and direct the film. After being temporarily fired by Disney and Marvel Studios as director of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3, he drew inspiration from war film and John Ostrander's 1980s Suicide Squad comic, and explored new characters in the story separate from the first film's narrative. Though some cast members do return from the Suicide Squad, filming took place from September 2019 to February 2020, primarily in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as Colón, Panama, and Porto, Portugal. The film had the biggest sets ever built for Warner Bros. Production. It was released on HBO Max and theaters simultaneously because of the day and day, and it got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got 168 million. The reason why is because of day and day. It received positive reviews. Who praised the performances, Gunn's writing and direction, the action sequences, soundtrack, and visual style, with many deeming it a significant improvement over its predecessor. The film became the most screened DC film on HBO Max, but underperformed at the box office, which was a tribute to factors such as the COVID-19 pandemic, the film's availability on HBO, and its relationship to the first Suicide Squad. Peacemaker, spin-off series, television series, starring Cena, debut on HBO Max, which I'll talk about in part 4. And 2 other spin-offs in development, including Waller. We'll get Waller, that'll be part of DC Studios. There is another spin-off series, which I don't know what it'll be called, but yeah, so this movie is great, much better than the 2016 one. It's much better. I love all the characters. James Gunn did a good job. And yeah, so obviously after this, when he was done with Peacemaker, Marvel Studios they hired him back to do Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3, which we had it this year, which I was happy we got it. And yeah, now he's running DC Studios, which I'll talk about that in part 4. But yeah, that's it with part 2. Now, part 3, I'll be talking about the Elseworlds, which I know it's not technically part of DC, but it kind of part of it because that's what Walter Hamada wanted to do. He wanted to do Joker, and then he wanted to do the Batman. And then we're getting sequels to both of those movies, the Batman 2, Joker Full of Juice. And yeah, so this is part 2. I think this era is probably the best era we had of the DCEU, much better than the Zack Snyder era. But I mean, the Zack Snyder era, there's probably like 2 films in there that's actually good. But I think most of these were all good, except one with 94. But yeah, so this is part 2 of looking back at the DCEU. And yeah, so tomorrow I will be doing part 3, which will be about the DC Elseworld. So yeah, so guys, so much for my video. I'll see you next one. Bye.